lot of family experiences. I don't know if I identified with the brand until I was much older and kind of understood a little bit more of what it meant and the values behind it, but I would say younger, it was just part of everyday life.
I would say I was really, really young, and it was my brother-in-law, and in his garage at my sister's and his first house, he had extremely run-down, brown, rusty-colored Beetle with like no wheels, barely any parts inside of it, basically just the shell. And I automatically loved it. I just loved the shape of it. I thought it was the cutest thing in the world.
I was 4, I'm gonna cry. And my sister was leaving in her hippy-dippy Volkswagen van. She was 16 or so, maybe I was 5 and she was 17, to move out to British Columbia.
Experience was probably just knowing what the Beetle was. I was never really in one, but just seeing them drive by and how unique they were was my first welcoming to Volkswagen, to see what they to know what they were.
My first real memory of a Volkswagen was my dad had brought home a Volkswagen camper. And we had parked in the garage in the driveway of the house, and I had convinced him, and he thought I was being absolutely ridiculous, but I was allowed to have a sleepover, and I think it was yellow, and it had a light gray interior. It was not, now in hindsight, not the most attractive vehicle.
I was maybe 15 when in our city I see a Volkswagen Golf with 2 doors owned by a watch repairman, and that will make me nuts after the Volkswagen.
Beetle. Punch monkey game. Driving on the highway.
My best friend's dad owned an '83 Rabbit. I remember he used to, everywhere we went, he'd pick us up in this Rabbit. The shocks in the back were completely blown, but I had the old light bulb dash, I don't even think that there was a cassette player in it at the time. I don't even think there was a cassette player in it. But I remember we used to his dad was a huge Bob Dylan fan and stuff like that. So we'd blast it and we'd jump up in the back and be driving down through Kitchener, just the whole back end of this Rabbit just bouncing up and down.
Beetle was always one of those things that my dad would talk about. They used to have an old Beetle or one of those, I think it was a Polo that he had. So he would always talk about them, how much he loved it. So.
And probably with my dad, he had a number of Beetles, and he still rolls out great stories on the Beetles. So, favorite story is him going ice fishing at Lake Simcoe and fishing through the hole in the floor on the Beetle.